America, home of the land of the free, the home of the brave, hopes, dreams, aspirations. Nah, it's money! American Made is a film starring Tom Cruise as a pilot who doesn't exactly follow the rules of law, but more along the lines of the rules of money and where money can take you either through the good guys or through the bad guys. And it follows him on this true story about drug smuggling, secret deliveries, CIA, DEA, and a whole lot of baggage that comes along with it. But as far as Tom Cruise goes, how is it? Is this his best movie ever? Is it somewhere in between, or is it at the bottom of the barrel? Let's find out. First up, we're talking about the acting. And as far as this goes, a lot of it was pretty much the same throughout from the beginning to the end. However, I had to notice that the majority of the cast was very good at what they were doing acting wise, so I think that is commendable. So I will give that 2 out of 2 possible stars. Next up, we're looking at the characters. Are they all diverse and memorable? And I have to say, each character was really good, specifically because they are real people, because this is a true story. And normally a lot of true stories are boring in that regards, but they picked a story that was at least portrayed in a way that you can really enjoy the characters. So I will say 2 out of 2 possible stars for that. Casting, did they cast everybody correctly? When it comes down to Tom Cruise, you never really know if they hire him because he is Tom Cruise or if he fits the role. Because he's a pilot in real life, because a number of reasons, he fit really well in this role, but so did everybody else. The cartel, the FBI guy, his wife, everybody fit these roles. 2 out of 2 possible stars for that. Importance. Did everybody add to the plot? I'd have to say yes. Even though it is a true story and sometimes plot can be a little confusing, I think that everybody in the film had importance to Tom Cruise's character, including the character of Money, which I'm just throwing in there because it was as important as everybody else in decision making and things of the nature. So every real life character as well as the character of Money played vital, important roles in this film from beginning to end, so I will say 2 out of 2 stars for that. Is there chemistry? Does everybody work well together? And I think I actually have to hand it to Tom Cruise because he had pretty good chemistry with everybody, including the cartel. His charisma and lovable personality really worked out in the end here, and I think 2 out of 2 possible stars for that, making the people category a full 10 out of 10 possible stars. At the writing score, so that's going to cover the dialogue, balance, story originality, and how interesting it is. First off, the dialogue. Was there anything in this film that stood out as far as dialogue? Was there any speeches? Did anybody speak in a certain way that I could remember? Or anything like that? I'd have to say no. So as far as that goes, I'm gonna have to say 1 out of 2 possible stars. How balanced was this? Now this is true stories are like this. It just follows somebody's life. There isn't a real goal because in real life, that's not how it works. You just live from day to day and daily decisions come your way and you follow your heart wherever it may lead. And that's how biographical films do it. They just follow the guy along his life. He's got a very interesting life, I'll give it that, but there is no real plot here. So when it comes down to balance, I feel like it drags on. It feels like it drags on just because there is no specific plot, and for that I have to give it 1 out of 2 possible stars. How about the story? Interesting enough, I don't usually care for true life films, but the story here specifically is interesting because it asks the question about why this is called American Made. What makes this patriotic when he's going around and doing things for the cartel, drug smuggling and whatnot? How does this make him any kind of American patriot or hero or whatever you want to call it? And of course that answer is given to you later on, But while you're watching, you're thinking, is it because of money that we are so attached to money? Is it trying to give us this social commentary? Not necessarily, but you do think it when you're watching, and at least I did. So as far as stories, I'm going to say 2 out of 2 possible stars. Original, I can't say I've really seen anything like this other than other biographical films, but this specifically was pretty interesting, so I'll give that 2 out of 2 possible stars. Interesting. I'm only going to give half points here because I was not interested in seeing it before. The trailers and the advertisements, those didn't really catch my attention, and I didn't really care to watch it. I'm watching it because I watch movies. And once I actually started watching it, I was definitely interested. So as far as that goes, 1 out of 2 possible stars. Giving the writing score a whole 7 out of 10 possible stars. Next, we look at behind the scenes, BTS. So this goes into visuals, directing, editing, advertisement, and music, so let's get ahead of that. How was the visuals? Interestingly enough, there was definitely some strange things going on here. They wanted the movie to feel like it was filmed and edited back in the 80s when this took place, which is interesting. So some scenes might feel a little not as crisp as a 2017 film would look, and things like that. For directing, I can't say that there was anything specific that stood out for me. Basic directing job, so I give that 1 out of 2 possible stars. Editing, on the other hand, is probably the first thing that you'll notice, because even when it comes down to the production companies that you see the logos of before you see the movie, those were edited and stitched together so well that it already started feeling like an 80s style film. Throughout the movie, you'll feel these edits here and there that are just kind of weird sometimes, but weird in a good way. So I'll give that 2 out of 2 possible stars. Advertisement, and I think even though I didn't care too much about seeing the movie when I saw the trailers, I don't think any false advertisement was involved. It was as advertised, so I will give that 2 out of 2 possible stars. How about the music? For the most part, right from the get-go, again, they chose a lot of songs that I was totally into, and it brought me into the film further. 2 out of 2 possible stars, giving the behind the scenes category a whole whopping 9 out of 10 possible stars. Onto the narrative arcs. Score. Introduction was fine. You kind of get introduced to this pilot who is the, everyday likable guy, tests fate sometimes, is not really afraid of what he probably should be of. And then the inciting incident is when he is approached by the CIA and enlisted. The obstacles, he runs into the cartel and his work for the CIA and his work again for the cartel, basically following where the money is going. Climax, little anticlimactic because it is a true story, so it doesn't flow like a normal movie would. It is there, it's just not a wham bam thing. It's just, it is what it is. So as far as that goes, 1 out of 2 possible stars. The following action, for the most part, I just say that it ends right there. You just kind of accept it because that's how life goes, You just 0 out of 2 possible stars for falling action. That gives the narrative arc score 7 out of 10 possible stars. Entertainment. How entertaining was this film? Well, let's take a look. Rewatchability. Yes and no. I don't think I would go out and look for the film specifically, but if it came around on TV, I wouldn't mind watching again, so I'll give that 1 out of 2 possible stars. Fun. Was it fun? It definitely felt like a fun film. 2 out of 2 possible stars for fun. Do I care to buy it or own it? To be completely honest, not really. Is a fine movie that you can check out, but for the most part, you don't need to own this. So as far as that goes, I'm going to give it 0 out of 2 possible stars. Do I have an impulse to talk about it other than this review? Not really. It's like, again, it's fine and everything, but there's not much to really talk about it. It's a true story. You can look it up if you want, or you can watch the movie. It's totally your choice. Finally, does it suck the audience in? I think for the most part it does here and there, so it doesn't really suck you in the whole time. So as far as that goes, 1 out of 2 possible stars for that, making the entertainment score a whole whopping 4 out of 10 possible stars, bringing us to the specialty questions. This is a true story. So every time I see a film that says true story or inspired by a true story, I look up the true story after I see the film. I don't want to look it up before it if I don't already know it. I want to still be surprised by the film. This rating is partially based on how accurate it is, how good it is, based off of real life. So in this particular instance, American Made took some liberties in making some of the blander scenes seem more exciting, but I think for the most part, they got all the ideas correct. The most important parts they kept in. 10 out of 10 possible stars. Every time I see a Tom Cruise movie, one of my specialty questions is Tom Cruise-isms. He's shirtless at one point in the film, he's running at some point in the film, and other things like that. But those are the two main things I look for. In American Made, he does run, but I don't think there's any certain time when he's shirtless. But other than that, as a Tom Cruise movie in general, is it the best thing I've ever seen? No, he's been in a ton of films, most of which I probably prefer to watch over this, though that doesn't mean this is bad in any way. He's just done a lot of movies. 5 out of 10 possible stars. Title specific, American Made. How is this American when it was all about drug trafficking and smuggling and gun stuff and on all this? How is this patriotic in the first place? Because it really seems like it's the opposite. To answer this, I would just really say watch the movie for yourself to find out if you don't already know the story. If you want to spoil yourself, you could always look up the story. For the most part, I do believe that it answers this question better than I thought it could, so I will say 10 out of 10 possible stars there. How about action? Is this an action-oriented film, as IMDb would state by saying it's part action? When it comes down to Tom Cruise and you see a Tom Cruise movie that says action, you're really expecting a different movie than what this is. I will say this, there is action here and there in the film. Because it does have some, I'm going to give it 5 out of 10 possible stars. Was this film halfway decent? Yes, 10 out of 10 possible stars, so if we add all that up, we get 77 out of 100 possible stars, so 77%, or if we round up, that's 8 out of 10, which is pretty cool. Alright guys, follow me on Tracked.tv. My username is IAMDWG, that's IMDWG, which is the same username you can find me on at Twitter. For YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell so that whenever I make a new video, a new movie review, you can be notified when that comes up. Other than that, guys, peace out.